A very brief video, and I'll hold the camera up rather than set up my tripod. Enoch Burke. I see a constant post there about Enoch Burke, and I just want to make my position clear. If I were to get a job in the morning driving a school bus, bringing children to and from school, I would expect my employer, usually the state, to expect me to treat the kids well, not to allow any bullying or violence, not to allow some kids to take money from other kids, particularly those that might be a little bit timid or a little bit weaker, not to allow any inappropriate conduct against girls or girls against boys or anything else. They might also expect that I would ensure that any minority, such as a black boy or girl, would not be abused or called repulsive names or made little of or anything like that. That would be the duty I would expect. And in return, I would expect to get paid for my work, to get all the entitlements that I'm due to receive. And there it ends. That's my contract of employment. If my employer, if I do that for 3 years, no problem at all, and my employer starts bullying me and starts cutting my pay, reducing my pay, or sending an inspector on the bus every day, watching every move and continually dictating how I drive the bus and all of that, when in fact my driving of the bus is the same as, let's say, if I had been driving for years before of a lorry or a bus with CIE or a private coach, and they want it done differently, or he starts telling me to drive on the right hand side of the road like you do on the continent. I would regard that as constructive dismissal. If I am forced to leave my job, that would be a constructive dismissal, and that's illegal under the law. Putting any unusual or strange procedure in front of employees is constructive dismissal, and they're entitled to the protection of the law for employers who do that. Employers have to treat their staff with dignity and respect, and that's only right. In our society, there are males and females. Eventually, in people's lives, there may be in-betweens, there may be transgenders, there may be transitioning, and there may be everything else. But normally in our society, children stay as boys and girls until they leave school, and then they're free to do as they wish. In fact, boys and girls of a tender age or a young age might feel certain things that they wouldn't later on in life. What has happened in the case of Enoch Burke, and I saw it explained the other day on a video by someone who knows it, is that some person in charge of that, is it Williamstown School down in the Midlands? Some person down there decided that he had to call a boy they. It is ridiculous to call anyone they. Can you imagine if I was talking about my local vet and I call them they? There's male vets and there's female vets, to call them they. That is a ridiculous thing. That is constructive dismissal. Also, if on a building site there may be gay people, there may be, and they're adults. These are children. So it's normal in our society to refer to boys as him and girls as her. And when the day comes that they want to decide what to be, then they possibly are entitled to expect to be called they and them, but they will have no legal right. And if a boy is 18 and he does whatever has to be done and he says, I'm now a transgender, I'm now a woman, I'll still refuse to call him her. It's up to me to decide that. The state cannot tell me. If I know he has all the tackle in his nether regions of a boy, I'll say him. I say, how are you? And if I'm talking, will you give him the money there? I'll call him him. And if it's a girl and I know that it's a biological girl, I'll call him her. And I will not obey any law to tell me different. Whether I call them any gender is a matter for me to decide, and I don't relinquish that. In fact, if I wanted to, I can turn round to anyone who's a man and call him a woman too. They have no right. I have no right to be called him. If somebody wants to say, there she is to me, go ahead. Doesn't matter to me. So what happened in this case was Enoch Burke refused to comply with this ridiculous request. He was then told to stay away from the school, and he refused. He was entitled to draw his pay, to give his service. No one denies he's a good teacher. No one denies the kids are safe and sound in his company, and he does the best to teach them. He has a Christian religious indoctrination, and he lives in a country, and so do I, unfortunately, which refused to allow a Catholic woman who was sentenced to death in Pakistan to enter the country. I don't agree with that. I can't speak for him. So this constant barrage about Enoch Burke, he broke the law, he did this and that, that is not a just law. A law which is unjust has no right to be obeyed. It has no right to be obeyed. I want to make sure I'm not covering my phone here. I think it's okay. It has no right to be obeyed. I refuse to do it, and we have to now change the Constitution and the law. Weird, strange things are happening in Britain, in Europe, in Ireland, in the United States. I can only speak for Ireland. There's nobody stopping people having whatever gender they want to call themselves, or dressing any way they like, or doing what they want to do if they're happy with that. But there it stops. I refuse to go any further. No matter what law is brought in, if they bring in the hate speech law, I will examine every syllable, and I will break it deliberately so as to break the law that's unjust. I understand the constitutional law. It is a mockery of our history and our past. And if you told somebody, if you told Eamon de Valera back in the 1960s that the day will come in your republic where a man who teaches school in a Christian way will be serving jail sentence for calling a boy they, because somebody in that school decided they were entitled to do so. I want to speak to the man or woman who made that decision. I want to speak to the principal of the school who enforced it, and I want to know why the Department of Justice allows the state funds to be paid to that school. Why should a school receive state funds if it's going to treat its people like that and do such a ridiculous thing? They're public servants. There's no law anywhere to say this has to be done. This is a private local law by a school funded by me. Funded by me, and it is a scandal. Now, I'm available to go for a debate on this anywhere you want. It is not right that Enoch Burke is in prison tonight. And this stupid thing, and everyone knows, having him arrested by the Gardaí, having Gardaí use their resources on this, when the country is gone to hell with crime and nobody can get a crime investigated or anything. This is perverse. It's stupid. How many people will vote against it, I don't know. I would suggest Enoch Burke should stand for election in the next election and see how he gets on. What are the people in that area like, Longford or Meath? I'd say there are some who strongly disagree. Now, having said that, my party, the Irish Freedom Party, may run a candidate there. And if there is a candidate there, then he might be better off not. I'd then ask him not to consult us, but back our candidate. Back our candidate, because if we have a candidate there, we will quickly outlaw this. Not only that, I personally want to see the pensions of the corrupt politicians in this country cut badly. I want to see the woke politicians lose their rights for their pension. Give them maybe €100 a week. This is wrong. It's totally wrong. And I, for one, am not going to buy down to it or bow down to it. I will not buy down to it. I'll fight it to the bitter end, because it is wrong in Ireland, in rural Ireland that this ridiculous situation should prevail, and that my tax is keeping a teacher, a decent Christian teacher, in prison tonight. That is the demons. That is satanic. There is no justification for that. And that boy when he gets to be 25, and I'm calling him whether they like it or not. When he gets to be 25, he could turn around and say, you know, I'm actually a boy. I don't feel like being a girl anymore. And all of this will be suffered and endured for nothing. These woke crowd are a dangerous, dangerous phenomenon. We have to face them down hard. We got to beat them. Thank God they're being beaten in the rest of the world. It wouldn't happen in Putin's Russia. People are posting underneath, I agree with you on everything, I don't agree with you on Putin. He wouldn't do this. And they have him charged with trumped up charges in Russia about removing children from a war zone. And there's no evidence of anything like this happening. Yeah? Whereas there are other people who are well known to have been child abusers, and it's all covered up. It is an unbelievable thing. And you hear the media pontificating, RTE, about child protection. You see a big thing in the news again about the victims of child abuse. I thought this was settled years ago. It's still coming back. And what are we doing with a teacher that would look after his children, be good to them, and treat them as locus and co, or parents and co, substitute parents for the real parents, and respect the rights of the parents? What are we doing to him? Only putting him in prison. Parents must realise too that the ideology behind this will take their children from them. And part of this is to take away the rights of the children to decide what way their children are reared. That's the next thing down the road. And I have seen videos, which I believe to be true, of drag queens, men in their 60s, big baldy men like myself, and them inviting the children in the school to put their hands up their leg. Will our people vote these creeps out? I don't know. We see the bicycle parking debacle with the 336,000 and everyone's disgusted. But will it change them? These people need to be sent to hell away. Let them hump off to the countries where they bring in all these migrants from, and let them try living over there. We need to get tough with the woke brigade. We need to get hard and really tough. We'll see you back for something else. That's my response. I will not agree that there's some technical offence with Enoch Burke, and he could lie down with this. He could put up with it. I do accept the judge had to deal with the law as it is, but who makes the law? What is Dáil Éireann for, if not to move in now and have a referendum on this? Surely this is something that requires some type of judgment by the people. I believe following the marriage referendums in March this year, I think it was the 7th of March earlier this year, I do believe the people of Ireland, 80% to 90%, are repulsed by what happened. Let me know your feelings. Good luck. We'll see you back. Thank you very much.